What if accessing public services felt as intuitive and seamless as your favorite app? In Luxembourg, the push toward digital transformation is paving the way for a citizen experience that's not just about convenience, it's about inclusivity, empowerment, and collaboration. But what does it take to design public services that truly serve citizens? In today's episode, we dive into the citizen experience from two angles. Marion Massot, Senior UX Designer at PwC Luxembourg's Experience Center, shares her expertise on what citizen experience means and why it's critical for Luxembourg's future. Joining her is Björn Rohles, Training Manager in User Experience at the Digital Learning Hub Luxembourg, who reveals how UX training and a human-centered approach at DLH are closing the digital skills gap and empowering citizens. Together, they explore the challenges, opportunities, and transformative potential of public services in the digital age. I'm your host, Christopher Rosa, and this is TechTalk, technology made simple over a cup of coffee. So grab your favorite beverage and let's dive right in.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of TechTalk. Today we are going to talk about how to ease the lives of citizens while involving them in the process.
And to help us navigate this matter today, we're joined by two fascinating guests, so Marion and Björn, who will bring us their invaluable insights on the topic. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Before we kick things off, maybe can you tell us a bit more about yourself and why you're here today to discuss this topic? Björn, if you want to start.
Yeah, so I'm Björn Rohles. I have a background in UX research and UX strategy. And I was always fascinated by the idea of putting the people in the center, the people where you're actually creating any product or services for. So I work at the Digital Learning Hub. We are an initiative by the Ministry of Education. And we mainly want to upskill people to close the digital skills gap. And I think we will hear much more about that later. And there I'm responsible for the UX training catalog.
Fantastic. Marion?
So hello, TechTalk listeners. I'm Marion Massot. I'm a Franco-Luxembourgish UX designer and a workshop facilitator at PwC Experience Center. I've been part of PwC since 5 years, and I focus on designing user-centered solutions, facilitating workshops, and training professionals in areas like design thinking, mediation, and leadership. I'm passionate about democratizing design, and this inspired me to create my own podcast to make design more accessible to everyone. And recently, about concrete projects, I've been working on exploring how innovative methodologies like design thinking can improve citizen experience in Luxembourg in health sector, a topic I deeply care about. And beyond work, I'm reading a lot of novels and technical topic. Enjoying organizing some road trips like Cheese Road organized in September.
Oh,
it was very funny. And I'm always ready to connect with people. And today I'm very happy to be invited here and share some insight and output some citizen experience.
Great.
Yes, thank you both for this lovely introduction. So yes, indeed, let's talk about citizen experience. Marion, can you explain what this means and why is it important in Luxembourg? What are also the benefits?
So what is experience? Citizen experience? Citizen experience refers to how citizens interact with services, tools, and infrastructures provided by public or government institutions. And as a UX designer, my goal is to improve interactions so that they are effective, accessible, inclusive, and I hope a little bit enjoyable.
That's a lot of things.
Yeah,
very ambitious.
And why is it important for Luxembourg? Firstly, we have multicultural populations, so diverse needs, diverse cultures, and we try to make all the services meet all these kind of things. Growing expectations for seamless and digital interactions to have fast and easy access for citizens, and well-designed citizen experience builds trust and engagement. And concretely, benefits for citizens. When you have faster and more accessible services, you simplify process, and you reduce frustrations, and you have a clearer communications to avoid confusion. And not the last, but some benefits for public administrations. You can improve efficiency and resource allocations. Like this, you can streamline operations and reduce some errors. And you have higher citizen satisfaction and compliance. So when you have happy citizens, they are more invest to comply with rules.
And also to vote, right?
Exactly.
I remember because, full disclosure, we wrote a blog, right? I mean, you contributed most of it, of course. So we wrote a blog about this topic, so that's why I know a few things. Christopher, you wanted to say something?
Are you happy citizens?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I mean, with citizen experience and the once only principle,
yes,
we're getting better and better.
Indeed. Indeed.
I'm a happy cross-border, yeah.
Well, but speaking of which, could you share some concrete examples of projects or initiatives that are already there, that have enhanced the citizen experience?
So I led recently a project with 6 interactive workshops with a learning by doing approach. I brought together various internet teams that are not used to work together usually, and we collaborate on solutions for if topic. Also, this year we organized twice 2 workshops with 22 participants, with some representative of citizens and governments. Like this, people from up can really understand what are going on the field. And it was on data strategy and AI, so understand their concerns, their needs, their desire about this kind of.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Are there any other examples that we see out there? I mean, we were talking about mobilitate. Maybe people can also relate to that.
So mobilitate is, yes, a kind of great example. It's an app that with the goal to ease the daily life of people taking all the transport, tramway, bus. There is also walking and cycling.
Yes, you have all modes of types of transport. Yes.
Yeah, it's a kind of example that is really user-friendly. Also inclusive, so we try to have nice colors, nice typo, to make people using it in their daily life.
There is also My Guichet.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, My Guichet centralizes a lot of
yes.
life things, we can say. You can do your taxis, your when you get a new car, so everything. Yes, the goal is one entry point for all your administrative tasks.
Yes. Perfect.
Yes, now on to the next question. Yes. I must say, Björn, upskilling, reskilling is a topic close to my heart as well, because for the first 2 years at PwC, first 2 years I've been here, I've been working on some upskilling and reskilling projects, so super happy to hear about it again. But now to the question, and how does UX training, well, at the Digital Learning Hub, directly support the citizen experience, and more specifically, of course, in Luxembourg?
Yeah, so as I said, the Digital Learning Hub, we are a public service, we are a public institution. So our aim is ultimately to serve the citizen. In our case, that's mainly professional learners who want to upskill, reskill, like you mentioned. And regarding UX training, I think there are 2 main dimensions. The first is just as a training topic. We really see that there's a demand of people who want to get in the UX industry, and who might not have the opportunity otherwise earlier in their lives. So offering these courses is a way for them to work on their future career, to build on their dreams, and hopefully to help us as a country further on. And then the second dimension is behind UX, there's a methodology. There's the idea of being human-centered, putting the customers, putting the users, putting the citizen in the center and starting with their needs. And I think that just this mindset is very important for creating positive experiences, because experiences will happen in a way. There's no denying that an experience will happen. So the question is just, what do we do to design it in a way like we want it to be? Ideally positive, easy, inclusive, like we've mentioned. So this is really for us the contribution that UX training can have.
Okay, and then maybe to put everything in perspective and to give examples, can you actually give a couple of examples of training initiatives that helped you reducing this digital skills gap?
Yeah, so I can best speak of the UX area. So we started with, I would say, singular courses where we had specific UX-related skills. And then we noticed that actually there's also a demand for what we call learning tracks. So really the idea of having different modules which combine and provide you an additional benefit. And for us, it's we have a learning track on UX where you really create a research and design project from A to Z, so that you have actually something for your portfolio. That's one example, and we see many other examples as well. Recently, we introduced orientation classes where people get an introduction into the different job roles that actually exist, because there's a lot of job roles in the field of UX. And just to create this awareness and having people getting an idea of what they could do is one of these benefits.
Can you name a number of these roles so that people understand a bit more?
Yeah, so the classical one is, of course, the UX designer, which is a bit of the jack of all trades. And then we have the UX researcher, who is a much more research-based focus. We also have the UX managers, the UX strategists, who are more on the procedural level, on the organizational levels. Increasingly, we have UX writers as well, who really focus on the text parts of a user interface. And then we have many related job areas, which all have something to do with UX and where a specific UX mindset can help.
I have an unlisted question, but it's an easy one, I think. Who is registering for your trainings? Could you roughly explain the demographics? Yeah,
we have a large variety of learners. That's actually one of the challenges that we face, because we have so much diversity and we need to design our training in a way to address ideally most of them, or ideally even all of them, I guess. So we have a lot of unemployed people who really take this opportunity to upskill and to really shift their careers. But we also have a lot of employees who might just want to, either for a project or for their personal interest, upskill. And then we see a few students as well. So we really have age groups from 18 plus until almost the 50s, 60s. So it's really a huge variety.
Mm-hmm. Hence many challenges, but we will talk about those later. First, we'll talk about challenges with you, Marion. So what are those? I mean, what challenges do you see public institutions facing when adopting a user-centric approach?
So the first one, we are human and we hate changes.
Yes.
So the first challenge is resistance to change, especially in traditional workflows. Public institutions often have long-established processes, and employees can be hesitant to adopt new methods. So changing workflows can feel risky and uncomfortable, especially if they worked the same way for years and so impact citizens at the end. Second one is to find a balance between technological innovation and inclusivity. We have a lot of apps and digital services, so people who have lack access to technology or the skill to use it can be on the side, be put on the side. So public institutions must ensure that everyone can benefit, no matter the age, income, or technology. So yes, this is one of key challenge to keep in
It's a
mind.
big one. It's a biggie.
And the last, I already talked about data strategy, is to ensure data privacy and cybersecurity. We are all afraid that someone can steal our identity, and so now it's quite an easy one. So we give some sensitive information when we go on My Guichet, and you create your accounts on an app. So it's important that citizens can trust their data are safe, and to improve user-centered system by collecting all the data.
So quite a number of challenges.
Yes,
indeed.
especially today.
Yes, and I mean it also brings together a lot of different topics and aspects of technology, which is always fascinating to discuss. But let's not dig deeper into the challenges, but let's look at the bright side. Maybe let's say we're cooking and bringing a recipe with all the key ingredients to solve all those challenges. Can you tell us what would be the ingredients in this recipe to tackle the challenges?
So first ingredient is to be human-centered. Put your citizens at the heart of all your processes, all everything. You are working for citizens, work with them also. So some principles are empathizing with them when you want to create a relevant and impactful solution. Also iteration. When you want to create something, you want to launch a new services, create a prototype. It could be very, very easy draft things like on a paper. You can draw an app and ask people to understand your flow, and it will save some money and time on your side. Also concerning digital transformation, keep it simple.
Is that even possible?
Yes, it's always possible. A lot of people, when you want to create services or products, you want to have everything on it, but at the end, it could be just a mess, and people just want to use it. So simplify as much as you can, and use new technology like AI and automation. Also, stay accessible. So think about typo, colors, and everything. So also inclusivity. So now, like I said, we have a multicultural citizen. So it's important to think and design in terms of languages, ages, and digital skills. And the last one, working in teams. So involve UX designer. It's a very important to, because we are the word of a citizen, we advocate for them. It's important to have also trainers to give some training to your colleagues and policy makers early in the process. So yes, encouraging teamwork cross-departmental.
Okay. I think we have a plan. We have a recipe. Over to you, Björn. I mean, you mentioned already a big challenge, which is you have a wide learners from all walks of life with different goals and specific phases in life. Are there any other challenges that you face when designing accessible, human-centered training?
Yeah, I guess this diversity is really the key challenge because we need to react on the spot. We need to react to the different needs, and that means that we first need to know these needs. And of course, we do a lot of survey data collection, which we use then to validate our courses and to adjust them and enhance them, basically. Now, the thing is that this, of course, only gives us information in hindsight. So we are also thinking of implementing additional data collection. At the moment, we have a lot of interviews going on where we create different profiles, so-called personas and journey maps of our different learner groups, so that ideally we would be able to have them in mind already when we create the different training offers. Of course, we do the same as well for our trainers, because ultimately we create a match of different learner profiles to the appropriate trainers. So we need them in both directions, actually. Yeah, and then a challenge would also be to know more about how the experience develops over time. Because we would like to know what's going on at which moment in time and what could we do to enhance at this moment in time. So we're really thinking about collecting additional data along the entire journey of a learner who, from the moment that they sign up until they have actually completed the course and got that certificate. And to be able to know how this experience develops over time would be a huge challenge and also a huge benefit for us.
Okay, and let's now also include the citizens in have them come into play here. How do you ensure that your offering at the Digital Learning Hub is inclusive and it translates in actually measurable improvements for citizens?
Yeah, so at the moment we rely a lot on subjective survey data in the end to measure the impact. In the end, we want that our training has an impact. So of course we need to think about additional data collection in terms of what have they actually learned, have they actually been able to realize the project or career switch that they wanted to achieve. And this is where a lot of work is actually ongoing at the moment to really have this in place. Another very important dimension where we try to be inclusive is that we have projects where learners are actually actively creating something for us. So we have collaboration with different universities, for example, where actually student groups collaborate with us to work on a specific problem that we face. And very often they achieve results which we didn't anticipate. So they have very different ideas because they have a very new perspective, and that's the value that we get out of involving citizens.
That's really cool.
Yeah, can you give a couple examples on that, or?
Yeah, so the most prominent example that I can think of is a collaboration that we had last year with the Hasso-Plattner Institute in Germany. And they wanted to work on the onboarding of learners. So how can I make sure that people can actually make an informed decision which course they should take? And they had this great idea of, maybe involving past learners, maybe having people share their experiences so that a past learner could be like a role model for a future learner. And this is something that could be really beneficial for us. And so far we didn't implement it yet. But of course it would be very interesting to do so. So we will continue to work on this area.
So I think it's clear that citizens have a role to play. So Marion, how do we involve them actually in practice in digital transformation projects, but also how to ensure that these apps or these tools really work for them? Are there any consultations or mechanisms to collect their opinions and needs? A bit like Björn mentioned.
So, like you said, citizens have a big role to play in their country life, and also us to involve them. So I can share three ways. So the first one, for me, like an easy one, is to implement a feedback form into your digital platforms. It could be like a NPS. So it's a really easy one. Test like 1 to 10. Ask your user to note the service or what they did, and could be also 2 simple questions like what do you like, what do you dislike, and that's it. Don't ask 10 or 20 questions. People don't have time. Keep in mind, people don't have time. Second one could be also focus group. So invite people to your place and ask questions. Make them use and try your services. And also, like I already did, is co-creation sessions. So we have a representative of citizens and some governments, and we work together on some topic to have the voice of everybody and find common solution.
Great. I think great ways as well to include citizens in the process. And Björn, I think you already mentioned a couple ways where citizens can help in shaping your training programs. I don't know if you want to add on that, or maybe if you want to share some of the feedback. So you mentioned that you gather and collect feedback from citizens. Is there any of that feedback that you want to share with us? What do you typically get, and how do you improve, let's say, your training programs based on this feedback?
Yeah, so I guess a very prominent feedback is actually about the different training topics for our catalog. So we have a very rigorous data collection process where we basically combine data from the market and data from our customers. So regarding the market, we of course look at job offers, we look at scientific publications, we participate in conferences. So the idea is really that we collect different data sources about the training needs which exist. And then we also have a question in our feedback form, a very simple free text entry. And we collect these training ideas, we cluster them, and then we identify specific new areas of training. And that's very valuable for us because very often we see that there's a demand coming which we didn't expect. And to add on that, we also encourage our training managers to stay close to the people. So we have training managers who specialize in particular areas of our training catalog. And very often they would just sit in a training for an hour, or they would just, during the breaks, talk to some people. And the information that we get there is also very valuable in shaping our future training catalog.
I have, the geek inside of me has a bit of an linguistic question for you, and if you don't want to answer, it's fine. But I'm
I'm a bit concerned now.
But if you don't,
but you mentioned tailoring, adapting the training catalog, training programs that you have in house. Do you use any market data and a bit of AI on top of it, or anything close to that, to not anticipate but at least have a view of the trends in the market in terms of skills and skills gap?
Yes, we actually have a project running which just started, so I cannot really share how much impact it will have in the end. But the idea is really to observe skill trends in the market and ideally to be able to predict changes because the idea is that we would not only be able to close the skills gap, but also to anticipate where the skills move. So
which is the bigger challenge.
Yeah, the bigger challenge and being the step ahead. And that's where we really think that AI could come into play because it identifies patterns and maybe can help us to push us in a certain direction. And that could be beneficial. At the moment, we don't have it yet. But maybe in a year I could tell you more about it.
So maybe we have you back in a year.
Yes, that would be great. Well, from what you said, I'm happy to hear that you're following Marion's advice. You are in a good path. I also think it's quite interesting that you mentioned the formal and informal feedback that you can get. It's not just filling out surveys, but also talking to people. Sometimes you get more insightful feedback from a conversation. And you also mentioned AI, both of you, and automation. So what future trends or technologies do you think will impact citizen experience in Luxembourg in the coming years?
So, like I already said, AI for sure. We have to go on this way to streamline some processes as chatbot assistants for immediate help. Also, predictive services to anticipate some citizen needs. And as a UX designer, we have a big major role into AI because when we talk with ChatGPT, Copilot, or Gemini. We train the AI, and as a UX, so user experience, it's a major role to make great AI. Another one is personalized experiences. Time is the most precious things that people have. So when time is gone, it's gone. We have no time machine for now. So when people are on My Guichet, for example, make them to have the feeling that they did something important and not just I have to do with things. Also on data and blockchain, so be transparent and secure. It's very important to get trust from your citizens. And also linked to some training to prepare your citizens with some digital literacy programs or ensure that everything is inclusive for them.
Yeah, because it's not just, that's a very good point. It's not just what AI will change, but how we can prepare for it.
Well, unless AI can help us build a time machine, but we're not there yet. And maybe to add on that, Björn, do you see where AI can impact, AI, automation, Gen AI, you name it, can have, the impact it can have in terms of developing your training programs? I think we touched a bit upon, scouting the market and anticipating the skills gap. But are there any other branches that, you think AI can help?
Yeah, I would be happy if it would help us cluster our qualitative data a bit better. There's huge progress actually being done in this area. So we are playing around with it. I think it doesn't take long until it's a real benefit that I could ideally, even in real time, be able to see what kind of emotions, what kind of sentiments are put forward in the qualitative answers. That would be a real beneficial point to have. But I think we will get there. I see that's a topic where I can really make an advantage.
Yeah, I think there's some things that you can look into with Gen AI to understand the sentiments and so on, for sure. Yeah.
And we stay talking about the future in that line. What are the plans and priorities for the Digital Learning Hub Luxembourg? How do you envision its role evolving to address the digital skills gap and enhance citizen experience?
Yeah, so for the future, I see a lot of differentiation coming in terms of training topics. We already see a huge demand in, of course, AI, in coding, in security, but actually also in design as a more transversal skill. So I think that we will invest a lot in these areas. And then I think that we will also work a lot on our procedures to implement a more continuous data collection, to do additional validation metrics of our courses, so to say. That will be very important for us so that we have a ever-increasing picture of the impact that we're actually having.
No, indeed. I mean, of course, measuring the impact that you can have is always important, and more specifically with citizen experience, for sure. We're coming to an end with this episode. I'll stop from asking too many unlisted questions because I think we could be here talking for hours. But let's try and wrap things up. So maybe for both of you, if you can list 1, 2, 3 takeaways or advices that you would like to share with the audience as a conclusion.
So on my side, I would like you retain 3 main things. The one is talk to your citizens. Go directly with them on designing services. Focus on empathy. Get your real needs as a foundation for any digital transformation. The second one is collaboration. So internally, stop to work in silo. Talk to each other also, share your data, and will lead some better results. And the last, be flexible. Future trends like AI will require continuous evolution.
Björn?
Yeah, I can just underline everything that Marion said. And for me, it's really about being human-centered, just having in mind that whatever we are created for someone. And that means that we should ideally start with this someone. And I think this is actually a skill which is beneficial not only for UX people or for citizen experience people. It's a skill and a mindset which is very valuable for anyone, any project manager, any developer, anyone who really has a say into what we are creating. So that would be my take-home message. Keep in mind that we create something for someone, and we should start with this someone.
So thank you both. Very powerful messages to end our episodes.
Yes, was a great discussion. So good to have you with us today.
Thank you for being invited. It was a real pleasure to be here with you.
So this is Tech Talk.
Technology made simple over a cup of coffee.
And on that note, what is your favorite beverage? Is it coffee?
The most difficult question of today.
I know, yeah.
I discovered mate, and I really love mate. The famous football soccer drink it, Griezmann.
I've learned something. Learned a lot today.
So you're a famous footballer as well.
Yes.
What about you, Björn? You had time to think.
Yeah, I had to think, and actually, we didn't talk about this.
Another unlisted question.
But for me, it's actually as well mate, but it's Club Mate. So it's the iced tea version, and I like it so much that I actually carry it all over the way from Germany to my office.
Too much common points.
You have with you today.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, great.
Okay, I think you're gonna be buddies
Yes,
after this
UX
episode.
designer and mate drinker.
Thank you.
And that's all for today. This is Tech Talk, technology made simple over a cup of coffee. Don't miss out on any future episodes by hitting subscribe. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next episode.